Hello friends, welcome to my channel English Notes. Today's topic of my notes is Summary of London by Dr. Samuel Johnson. So let's start. London was written by Dr. Samuel Johnson in 1738 in imitation of the third satire of Juvenal. In Juvenal, Ambrosius leaves Rome because of corruption and hypocrisy. In this poem of Johnson, Thales is leaving London because of the vices and policies of the people who are living there. This poem consists of 263 lines. The first 34 lines of the poem are spoken by the narrator of Johnson. For the rest, Thales is the sole speaker. Samuel Johnson's poem London is written in the form of an imitation of Juvenal's third satire and critiques the corruption and moral perversion that has arisen after leaving the glorious days of the Renaissance far behind. The speaker of the poem, Thales, aligns himself with left-wing politics and propounded the need for a revolution in the near future which would bring about a complete change in London's current state of affairs. A similar view of corruption and the need of revolutionary action is depicted in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. The city of London and Gotham are comparable in terms of their moral decadence. In this essay, I will attempt to compare and contrast the cities London and Gotham in terms of the corruption, the need for mass rebellion, and revolution of vigilant justice. Johnson describes London as a place where malice, rapine, accident conspire. Thales is most critical about foreign elements influencing British society and believes that the French and Spanish people who come and reside in London and shift the boundaries of ethics and morality. Johnson is also against the Walpole government and attacked it with allegations of favoritism, nepotism, and careless attitude towards the citizens. As critic Harriet Raghunathan states in her introduction to Johnson in the worldwide critical edition of the poem, everyday life is a battle in which the individual strives to maintain his integrity in the face of an insidious moral invasion. As a country tries to avoid military and political capitulation, England is now a mercantile capitalist country, and this is reflected in Johnson's picture of pervasive mercenary values and the competition and struggle everywhere apparent in the poem. Christopher Nolan's Gotham is also a city exposed to chaos and anarchy, where criminals like the Joker and Bane are able to suppress the masses and create atmosphere of apocalyptic frenzy. In Matthew Arnold's terms, the Joker and Bane symbolize the populace doing as they like. It is a populace as a standard self, which likes boiling, hustling, and smashing. In The Dark Knight, foists a the villainous Joker foists a Nietzschean illusion. Early in the film, I believe whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you a stranger. This line is a puny adaptation of the familiar Nietzschean aphorism, "What does not kill me makes me strong." This allusion invites the viewers to consider the different aspects of the human struggles to maintain order against nihilism and chaos. It may suggest that while the city's corruption and immorality may not kill the citizens, it will ignite in them an strength and favor to bring about a revolution. Thales, as a speaker of London, assumes the position of a vanguard by remarking on the shortcoming of political institutions and encouraging citizens to unite in protest. His vision of an ideal place is the countryside, which is still untarnished by moral corruption and is free of the foreign influences of the French. Thales is able to inspire. Thales is able to inspire because he is a citizen of London himself and thus harbors a sense of belonging and goodwill toward the city. In a way, he illustrates the link between the personal and the political. Because he is poor and unrewarded, with all his wealth dissipated, he is able to feel strongly for Londoners. he is able to feel strongly for the Londoners. Since the whole land is in need of rejuvenation, the degenerate creatures must be replaced by such men who will prefer a virtuous simplicity to corrupting luxury, cultivate a steady independence instead of a psychopathic dependence, and bring to moral ugliness and decay a new vitality and beauty. In the Gotham, this role is taken up by Batman. However, he, as a vigilant, operates outside of the law. Batman seeks law, order, and justice for Gotham and its citizens. Such is his justification for acting outside the law. In the first movie itself, the fact that it is necessary to sometimes step outside the rules of society in order to save it is established clearly. During his training, Ducard tells Bruce, crime cannot be tolerated. Criminals thrive on the indulgence of society, understanding like Thales, Batman is also accepted as a defender of justice because of his own personal experiences, having seen his own parents being shot and murdered and being orphaned at a young age forced him to feel ardently for other innocent citizens. Batman is a double for Bruce Wayne, who clearly represents an Arnoldian liberal manifesting his best self in a barbarian with its characteristics of high spirit, choice manners, and distinguished bearing, searching for a best self in an attempt to express a general human spirit. In London, Johnson attacks the whole Walpole government for suppressing independent thinking and lays emphasis on the difficulties uh, faced by outspoken writers in getting rewards and recognition. The line, since unrewarded science toils in vain and slow rises worth by poverty depressed, convey that malicious malicious individuals and people with a genuine thirst for knowledge are not able to make a name for themselves in society. In order to be successful, one must be corrupt and, more importantly, obsequious. In order to fit in, one must either ape the fawning Frenchman or be plugged into hated poverty. He implies that awkward flattery has become the status quo in London. The idea is also illustrated in Jonathan Swift's novel Gulliver Travel. Swift contrasts the unfair way people were elected to the parliament in England with the absurd way people in Lilliput win their political position, that is through rope dancing and leaping over sticks. The candidates for the ministerial positions are trained to dance on the straight ropes from an early age, and only those who are able to dance on ropes with dexterity become misters. The one who manage to flatter and impress the emperor with their dancing are the one who are successful. The idea that individuals lose their sense of self in order to fit in is criticized by the Joker in The Dark Knight. The Joker's trademark phrase, "Why so serious?" is repeated several times throughout the film, emphasizing his perpetual his perpetual curiosity as to why people keep trying to stick to the system, follow the rules, do as others tell them to do, when nothing ever turns out the way they plan. The Joker simply aimed to upset the status quo and introduce principles of anarchy to the people of Gotham. Anarchy, the Joker argues, is much more fair than a judicial code because it is based on the universal constants. One can never expect One can never expect the unexpected. Perhaps the anarchy that the Joker proposes in the same revolution and rebellion that Thales and Johnson want, the only difference being that while Thales offers it as a peaceful idea, the Joker tries to execute it in a psychopathic frenzy. In any case, both Thales and the Joker wish to disturb the current state of affairs. However, where such a revolution leads to is not addressed. Lenin also suggests that the corrupt surroundings consume every individual, forcing a loss of virtue in every heart. In the poem, the righteous are in fact singled out as victims and villains, and fools are favored as beneficiaries of an unjust government. The good come to a bad end, and the bad go scot free. Essentially, begging becomes the mark of virtue. Johnson's claims anticipate the idea of mind fault manacles, suggested later by William Blake in his poem London. The idea proposes that human beings were born free but are now trapped by ideological patterns. Johnson laments the Londoners being so naive as to become entrenched in the ideology of Frenchmen. Similarly, corrupt circumstances also drive Harvey Dent to a point of mental perversion in The Dark Knight. After the Joker kills Rachel, Dent undergoes a profound transformation into the villain Two-Face. The seeks revenge on those responsible for her death. Dent, encouraged by the Joker, goes on a murderous goes on a murderous rampage and eventually falls to his death. Nolan here warned us about how even the most innocent of people are liable to corruption and radical transformation. Finally, as Thales retires from London at the end of the poem and leaves behind his agitated friend to lead the revolution, Batman too retires, entrusting police detective Blake with his responsibilities of protecting Gotham. In both cases, there is an unspoken promise to returning when the city is at the peak of revolution. Both Tales and Batmans believe in idea of Kairos, that at an opportune moment a revolution will arise that will change the city forever. So friends, this is my notes on Summary of London. I hope you like it. If you really like my videos, please like, share, comment and subscribe. And don't forget to press the bell icon for new video notification. Thank you.